Welcome to Planting Joy Garden. Today we will be planting a superfood. We'll be planting turnips. But first, I want to thank you for coming back to the channel and wish many, many blessings to you and your family. So this is the bed I'll be planting in today. I'm actually going to divide the bed in half. It's going to be half turnips and half mustards because nothing goes better together than turnips and mustards. Okay, so I have amended this bed by adding compost and some topsoil. I also have a covering of leaf mold. So what I'm going to do is simply scrape some of this leaf mold off to the sides because it'll make an amazing mulch. And as I mentioned, I'm only using half the bed. So the other half is going to be mustard greens, which will grow taller than my turnip greens. So I'm basically dividing it in half. I'm going to add an all-purpose fertilizer, and this is a balanced fertilizer. I'm going to fertilize both sides. Now, I'm in zone 5B, 6A, and so I still have cool nights. So there's a limited number of plants that I can actually direct seed and expect to grow. One thing about fertilizer is that it smells very delicious to your pets. I have to be very careful with bone meal with him because he's allergic to chicken, and you're never sure if it's beef bone or chicken bone. And considering the cost of beef and chicken, it is most likely chicken product. So I have to be very, very careful with him and bone meal. So I do literally have to push his little head out of the way and blend it in really quickly. And this might be cut from the video. It's so hard. But he's my garden best friend. Just remember to be careful with pets, particularly if your pet has a chicken allergy, because bone meal may have chicken parts, chicken bones, chicken beaks in it. It is a bone product. So just be careful if you have a pet with allergies. Okay, so I've added some bone meal and some all-purpose fertilizer. Now we are able to start planting. So the seed packet says that it germinates in 5 to 10 days and that they need to be spaced according to the spacing on the seed package, which says that it should probably be spaced anywhere from, I would say, about 6 inches and sown at a half a inch of depth. There you go. So we'll get these open. Okay, and this is what the seed looks like. Okay, nice little seeds. Now, I consider turnips to be a superfood. And the reason I consider it to be a superfood because it is a 2-for-1. You get both healthy, nutritious green leaves with great flavor, or you can get this great low carb, high flavor potato alternative when you eat the root. So turnips, you can grow it for the root or for the green. It is what I considered a no miss vegetable. If you don't get these very large bulbs, you still have nutritious greens that you can enjoy. Now, you can plant individual holes, like sticking your finger in the soil, but to ensure that I have good contact with the soil, I prefer to do drills or put lines in the soil like this. And then I'm gonna sow them. I try to control how many I actually put out. You can thin them later if you like. You do get a lot of seeds in a packet. And you have to consider, are you growing it for the root? If you are growing your turnips for the root, then you definitely want to thin it. If you're growing it for the greens, let them grow closely. Now, these are the purple top turnips, which have amazing flavor. And so I want both. I want the leaves and I want the roots. Okay. Now, turnips, being a green in the leafy green vegetable family, is high in vitamin C, vitamin K, and folate. It contains antioxidants. Uh, as a root vegetable, it is so high in fiber, it's high in zinc, it's high in magnesium. So you get the benefits of both in one plant. So I would encourage you to plant the superfood for both the greens and for the roots. Also, it's a great alternative to potatoes. And my little friend is in the way, just determined. So now we've got our turnips planted. I will take this extra mulch and push it off to the side until I'm ready to use it. But I'm just going to put a nice little thin layer over the top just to keep my soil moist. I tell you, this is like a comedy show today because my little garden friend is just too much help today. Okay, so now we're back. And as I was saying, you have many options when it comes to turnip greens. You can cook them in a boiling pot of water with other greens like kale, mustards, chard, um, spinach. You can roast them on a fire or roast them in the oven, which gives them a nice sweet flavor, really mellows it out. Or you can even saute them, cut them into strips and saute them down. And if you don't happen to grow very nice big roots, you can simply do a saute of the leaves and mix it with your other greens. So it really is a vegetable that is 2 for 1, highly nutritious, and can be used in so many different ways. And so what I'm just going to do is I remove some of my extra mulch off the top, and that's what's here because it was a little too much mulch. But we'll talk about how to store uh, your turnips. So, uncut with the leaf, you can actually store it for a month. If you have it in the refrigerator, you can store turnip roots for about 5 months, like you would store a potato. Um, you can also freeze it to preserve its life. If it's cooked and then frozen, you can keep it for 3 months. And if it's raw, chopped up, and then frozen, it can be kept for 12 months in the freezer. Now, it has to be raw, it has to be chopped, and then frozen to be kept for 12 months. So it's one of those vegetables that you can plant early in the season, get a harvest pretty much right away because that the packet says the maturity is 50 to 55 days. So you can plan it out pretty thick. Thin it if you need to, but you can actually store them and eat them when you need to. So I would really encourage everyone to try growing turnips and turnip greens, the 2 for 1 superfood. I do want to just kind of emphasize I have seen as early in the season as it is, and as cold as my nights are, I am seeing white butterflies. So you can't just simply plant your turnip greens and forget it. We do have an extra step. And so that's why I have my hoops out here. So I am going to be protecting this bed. So right now I just have turnips on this side. I will come back maybe in a week and plant the mustards. Mustards require warmer soil than turnips, but once mustards get started, they will outgrow your turnips because they are fast growing. So I'm not going to start my mustards today. Turnips can actually be started as soon as the soil is workable. So it's a lot like spinach, where it's one of the first vegetables you can get out. So I am going to put my insect netting over this bed to protect it from that butterfly I've been seeing, just to give myself a fighting chance against that dreaded moth or butterfly, whatever you call it. Okay, so I took a moment to double layer my insect protection because as I was recording, a moth flew by me. So it's like they can tell the minute you plant the seeds. So I went ahead and did a double layer of insect cover for this bed. And one important thing to have success sowing seeds, you should always water immediately because what the water does, it helps the seed to make direct contact with the soil. It fills in the air gaps and it also keeps the seeds from drifting away because this is a very windy day today. By watering the seeds in really well, I'm setting them in place. So with the high winds and as the soil shift, these seeds have already been wet and set in place. Okay, so you want to just make sure that you covered your turnip greens because they are susceptible to moths, aphids. They're also susceptible to the birds who like to nip at seedlings looking for worms. And with that in mind, I want to just show you how things are growing. So here you see I have my radishes that are coming up nicely. I've been keeping my carrots under this container, and as you can see, they all germinated perfectly. I am keeping it covered because I'll put in a clip of a bird who was in my beds, and they're not looking for my seedlings. They're actually looking for worms and pulling the worms. At this time of year, after good rain, this bed, as is all of my beds, are just loaded with worms. So it's a buffet for them. So I do keep a cover, and as I mentioned, I am in zone 5, so I have cold nights, and this provides extra protection. My onions are growing in really great. My transplanted strawberries, and this is really unusual, but they are actually flowering. So I do have them in my green stalk, and they're under frost cloth, but I didn't expect for them to start fruiting so early. It's only April. Have some oak leaf lettuce. Now these things are a little slower. I think because they're under the frost cloth, um, they're not getting full sun, which is a great thing. I'm in no hurry. And some additional lettuce. I also have additional Swiss chard here, and I will be planting some forward hook on these layers, and I'm going to be putting kale down on the bottom. I do have some volunteers. It could just be that I dropped the seed. Who knows? And so this one is doing quite well. My strawberries here. Now these do not have any frost cover on them whatsoever, but they're surviving and they're on schedule. The other ones just happen to be early. And when I moved them, I don't remember which one are ever bearing and which ones are June bearing. So I get what I get. My spinach is continuing to grow. And now this is a lot of spinach. And I'm going to eat baby spinach. And as I eat them, it will be thin. I do have some volunteers. Don't know what the volunteer is. I have to wait and see. But the spinach is going along great. Now, one thing about growing, I'm in zone 5B, 6A. You can't watch what other people are doing. You can only grow what your environment would allow you to grow. So I'm growing spinach. I'm doing turnips. I'm doing carrots. I'm doing onions. I'm doing radishes. I'm growing what I can grow for my area. Now over here, I have some lettuce. This is the red oak leaf and probably some Marlowe lettuce. And I just placed them outside. I do not like growing in my house. So I don't like fungus nets. So I put my seed tray outside, cover it with a wire basket, and then I'll put it in its permanent home later. But you could potentially just lay a bunch of seed trays out in your beds, protect them from the birds, and let them grow as they will. Okay. Now this is my cilantro. Uh, it's trying. It needs fertilizer horribly bad, so I will fertilize it. But I know that it's acclimated to my environment now, and thyme is doing great. My onions, my garlic is confused, and I am in the shade now. I have some more garlic. So literally, I think I'm pulling weeds and I keep pulling out garlic. My garlic bulbs are everywhere. I did not plant them. My chives are going to flower and I absolutely want them to flower because this is my bee food. I have a lot of bees that come and visit, but there's really not a lot to eat right now. The yarrow is growing out, but no flowers. So this really needs to come to life and flower so they'll have something to eat. And then my rose bush is just starting to flush out. So I'll just do a slow plant. You know, I'm in Illinois, so I'm 5B, 6A. So my garden doesn't look like a Floridian garden. It doesn't look like a Texas garden. You know, things are kind of slow here. And that's quite okay because I'm going for healthy, nutritious plants. I'm not in a race. I'm growing for the long term, so I want success. I don't want to kill seedlings or plants. So I'm growing what I can according to what my environment will allow me to do. So I am still growing cool season vegetables. So a short discussion about my planting plan. So this week we did half a bed of turnips. Next week I'll do the mustards. Then after that I'm going to do another row of chard. It'll be the Ford hook. Maybe I'll do 2 rows of Ford hook. On the bottom, I will do the kale. So that'll bring me up to my last frost when I know my soil temperatures are about 70 degrees. Then once I reach my last frost date, which is April 30th, I'll wait a week and then I'll plant more potatoes. I'll plant my first round of potatoes. My spinach should be fully grown and ready for harvest. I should be able to get some strawberries out soon. But the important thing is to grow for your area. You can't watch what others are doing. You have to watch what your area dictates. Okay? So we've done it. We've planted some turnips. And remember, the goal of a kitchen garden is to have nutritious, flavorful food right outside your door. Someplace where you can go grocery shopping close to home at no cost but the cost of seeds. So if you're starting a kitchen garden, start with seeds. Learn to sow seeds and care for the plants. It's the most economical and healthy way to produce your own fruits and vegetables. Thank you for joining me in the garden. Have an amazing day.